Peace, family. Peace, family. Chef Joseph, the entrepreneur, back at you again. Chef Joseph, the entrepreneur, back at you again with another video. Today is Friday, June the 5th, and just wanted to tap in with y'all to just kind of go over some things that I had going on, some of the thoughts that I had considering just what's going on in the climate today. Um, there's a lot happening as y'all see, and like I've been telling a lot of you, I talked a lot about the entrepreneur piece, starting your own businesses, things like that, because the more the climate, tends to heat up, you know, those who have not prepared themselves, unfortunately, it's just not going to be too good for them. So that's why, like, I'm a proponent of, whatever gifts you've been brought here with, whatever you have to do. It's important for you to find your gift, and why you here. You know what I'm saying? So many people they worried about red bottom shoes. They worried about things that are superficial, things that you can't carry with you. You know what I'm saying? But what matters is leaving your legacy. So just want to talk to y'all about something that obviously a lot of people are talking about, and just dealing with just a lot that's happening. I'll say it that way. And as an entrepreneur, I'm not taking sides. I'm just telling you that you need to pivot at this point, especially melanated people. It's time to pivot. It's been time to pivot. It's not anything against anyone else, but it's time for melanated people definitely to pivot. I'm very, very hard, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to say it, because change, unfortunately, well, however you want to say it, fortunately or unfortunately, change tends to not happen until the heat is turned up, you know, and, a lot of times people, they don't change unless, they're forced to change. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's going to the bottom of their life and realizing I don't want to be here anymore. I'm just tired of living like this, so I need to make a change. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I come to you with this entrepreneur piece. You know what I'm saying? Creating your own. That's for sure. So in the face of what anybody thinks, it doesn't matter what they think. What's important is that you get to your destination. I am thinking today is June 5th, 3 days before my daughter's birthday. Actually, yep, I am thinking about my little lady, or big lady at this point, but that's another conversation for another day. But I definitely want to talk to y'all about a subject that I want you to really take a look at, which brings me to the topic of today. You know, aren't you tired aren't you tired of supporting those who don't support you? And I'm going to leave that there. You know, aren't you tired of supporting others who do not support you and who have proven not to support you? You know, I remember back when I first opened up my first barbershop, Spinner's Barbershop, years ago. I was a barber for many years. I became a master barber, actually, and and did very, very well in the barbering industry. But of course, you have to build a clientele. But I can tell you that when I first opened up my shop, you know, I had a really nice building, had signed the papers and everything. And I basically, people that were rooting me on, they were like, what I'm saying, I know you could do it. I know you could do it. And then when I got to that finish line, right before I opened, I signed the paper. But see, I didn't realize that, I still had more steps to do. I knew I had more steps to do, but I was just so excited about the location and everything. I was like, let me invite all those who said that they believed in me. So what ended up happening was I was like, yo, come on to come visit me at the barbershop. I ain't have no barber chairs in it. I ain't have any lights hung up or anything. It was just they were really coming to see an empty building. In hindsight, when I look at it, yeah, it kind of makes sense, because I wasn't even ready to open. I had just signed my papers to obtain the building, and and it was like, man, I hadn't even changed gears to the next gear into the next gear yet. But anyway, that happened to me twice, about a year apart. And then, excuse me, and I got discouraged, actually. You know what I'm saying? I got really discouraged because I was like, I thought this was a good idea. I thought, that these people supported me. But I had got, discouraged. And actually, it just caused me to go backwards, and I gave up because I was thinking, maybe this is not a good idea. This, that, and the other. Maybe it's not a good idea. So, if they not coming, then obviously not a good idea. And I actually gave up on my dream twice, 2 years in a row. So the third year, I finally got it straight, and I opened up my own barbershop and salon, and went on into the medical transport business and all that stuff. So yeah, the long as I think, when I think back, you know, um, that was, yeah, I was a young entrepreneur just trying to find my way. And but anyway, so aren't you tired of supporting those who don't support you? I remember that I had went to back when I went to this Chinese restaurant, right? This was years ago. And they used to sell fish, in our community. And I know for me, I spent, I don't know, $300-400, maybe in a course of months. And I was like, yo, some just say, everybody like hot sauce. So I approached the owner. I was like, yo, I make hot sauce. It's called Chef Joseph's Kick Sauce. And I told him, I was like, yo, this is just an example, my personal experience, not alleged. This is what happened to me. So I was like, since I come in here a lot, and a lot of people come in, and the first thing they ask for is hot sauce, I said, I give you a case of my hot sauce. You don't even have to pay for it. Okay? You don't have to pay for it. Just, if you sell it, then I'll give you X amount of proceeds off the bottle. So really, you're not coming out your pocket with anything. And the man just looked at the bottle and was like, no, they like Texas Pete. Now, without even trying mine, it was like he just flat out no. You know what I'm saying? And I actually, like, that caused me not to ever go back again. I'm just being honest with you. Because if you're taking money out the community, you know what I'm saying, or any community, but especially my community, you respectfully, you know what I'm saying, you could at least, something could be reciprocated, you know what I'm saying? And so that was just an experience. It just kind of, something just came up as I was speaking to you. So that was one instance that I supported a business who did not support me. And I had to really look at taking my dollars away from, a situation that did not serve me. Bottom line, if you're going to take money, whoever you are, you know what I'm saying, it should be reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? And this is a hell of a conversation, as y'all know, of things that are happening, and I'm not going to talk about it, obviously, because everyone's talking about it, and I'm not here to get views or anything like that. But you can like and subscribe to the channel, because I'm back on my game here, getting back recentered and refocused and everything. And but I want to just talk to y'all about supporting those or giving to those. It's not just supporting, but giving to those who don't give back to you. Some of you are in relationships that are one-sided. Some of you are in friendships that are one-sided. One-sided friendships, one-sided relationships, you know what I'm saying? And then it's like, at the end of the day, you're the one left holding the bag. That doesn't feel good whatsoever. It doesn't feel good because down in your heart of hearts that it's a one-sided relationship. And I personally do not believe anyone should be in a one-sided relationship because, it takes two. If it's two of us, then we should be able to do something. Yeah, really. But when you look at the dollars you spend, and you look at how much you help people, how much you give to people, how much you give to other people groups, when you just look at this whole aspect of giving, just giving itself, all the ones you're giving to, like, what are they giving back to you? And that's very broad. You know what I'm saying? What are they giving back to you? Are they giving you a headache? Or are they giving you a hard time? What are they giving you? And based on this recent situation that it just happened, yeah, I think everybody should start reconfiguring in how they're going to spend dollars and things, because at the end of the day, we've built a lot of things, and at the end of the day, we're in last place. You know what I'm saying? Just real talk. So that is why I talk about entrepreneurship, to start your own businesses, so your children's children can have, like the scripture says, you leave generational wealth for your children's children. Well, how are you going to leave anything if you haven't sacrificed to build anything? You know what I'm saying? I don't care how big or how small it is. It could be building a flower bed. Your neighbors might be like, oh, but they're in the flower, they planting flowers and you don't even look that big, little baby plant. And it's yours and you're building something, you know what I'm saying? You know how many people who don't want to build in today's society? A lot of people just wanted easy street. I can tell you that I built like quite a foundation. And when I got to the top of that thing, I looked at how many people benefited. I'm not saying it wasn't their fault whatsoever. I'm just saying that I built something. I came to build something. I saw, and I conquered. That particular space. And still, when I look back, it was like, what did I gain? And who actually seen if Chef Joseph was okay? It's a couple people, but like for the most part, I went through the fire, man. It was real talk, and it wasn't easy. But guess what? I made it through. And I came through the other side of this thing where now my creativity, I'm getting back into my writing and a lot of that stuff as well. Again, I'm rebuilding a whole new website as well. He came during the Civil War.com. If you go to that website, you'll see, it's actually, that's the first one, but there's a whole new modified one coming right behind it. And it tells you a lot about my story as well. But just stop and think, like, where are you spending your dollars? You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a gas station, whether, you're paying too high for premium, and then, across the street, it might be, cheaper, and then when you go to that store, what type of service are you getting? Are you getting excellent service that makes you want to come back? Or, are you getting lousy service? Um, and even in the service business, I've seen it all. I've seen people make up lies, things that are not even true. You know what I'm saying? Just saying things just because I'm a black or a melanated man, straight up, or a Niji man, or the melanated man. Just because you're who you are, then people just have something to say. But if it was Uncle Billy, ain't nobody got nothing to say about Uncle Billy. You did. So anyway, so I just want to talk to y'all about like where spending your dollars, like, are the same, it's the same way that you spending your dollars, is it coming back to you? Is it being reciprocated? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, there are people building empires off of our backs. Real talk. And this is not against anyone else, but it is really the truth. So my whole thing is, why not start your own business so you can leave something for your children? Because by the time we're off the set, a lot of times, what are our babies going to do? What are our children going to do? Who are they going to work for? You know what I'm saying? And that goes for white, black, or indifferent. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else building their communities, then we should be able to build our community too. And that's just real facts. That means no sugarcoating at all. Like it or not, that's real talk. When you look at people that are building, they're leaving legacy for their families, and they want to pass back something. So my thing is, what are we doing, or what are you doing with your money? Like, are you investing it? I know it's tough. That's another thing. Investing is a whole other conversation because now the way the world is spinning, people are really just trying to make it. So, the times have definitely changed. The battleground has definitely shifted. The battlefield has shifted. But that doesn't mean that you cannot make it. That doesn't mean that you can't stand up and be counted for, for what you've been given to do. So I want to tell y'all, like, the dollars that you're spending, is it coming back to you? You know what I'm saying? Is it being appreciated? Or is it being depreciated in the way you're being treated, in the way that your quality of service, things like that? I know there's another thing where it was a couple places I went to, and that's another thing too. I'm literally getting tired of eating out and things like that. Just the customer service and a lot of things it's just not good at all. I mean, I'm not saying it all across the board, but it's like you want to go out and have something to eat, take yourself out. But now it just seems like the customer service has gotten so lousy that you want to leave a good tip, but then it's like, what if your service is lousy? So do you leave a tip? Do you not leave a tip? You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't tip, they're going to talk about you. And if you tip based on the way you were treated, they still going to talk about you. And then if you over tip, then it goes against like the way you've been handled at that table. So what do you do? My answer was quite simple. Just stop going. You know what I'm saying? Start cooking at home type stuff, But where are your dollars going? And are they being appreciated, by the people groups or businesses that you support? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about just a smile, but this thing has to be reciprocated by now. There are a lot of disturbing things that have happened here recently, which I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna talk about it because everybody knows a lot of that, and you can probably hear that on many different things. But what you won't hear a lot is on the mainstream media. I say it that way. You won't hear it there. But yeah, it's real talk. So my whole thing is, if you have a gift, you have a talent, you have something you want to do, what I'm saying, then what you need to do is start developing it. I happen to be in the food space. This is actually my book. I'm actually going to be redoing this book. This is the Chef Joseph's Market Ready Guide. This is actually my first book that I had written, the Chef Joseph's Market Ready Guide. And that basically talks about getting your product to the retail market. And it's basically a note-taking book. Things like, I can't do this on camera too much. It looks so backwards. But yeah. So it's different chapters in here. You can take notes on the side, on this side over here. And so it's just a journal of basically getting your product to market ready. But I'm actually going to be probably do a second edition of this one to get more in depth, because I actually wrote this one back in, let me check, it's been a while. I wrote this in 2015. It's my first book. Look at that. That's my manual or my market ready guide. But I'm definitely going to beef this up as well. This is my first series. But yeah, just want to talk to y'all about that. Is that when you spend your money, make sure it's being reciprocated. And if you're going to be spending money, make sure you spending money to help build your own as well. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I just want to share that with y'all. Be mindful of where you spend your money and how you spend your money, and also the service that the services that you're receiving. And I know I had to check myself at the gate a couple of times as an entrepreneur, because sometimes, and that's another thing as a business owner or just running the business, period. You have so many things on top of you that you have to deal with. But then when that customer, let me give you an example. So just for an example, one customer comes up, they treat you a certain type of way. Then you already feeling a certain type of way. But when that customer number two comes up, you literally have to suppress all of what you dealt with customer number one, because customer number two is a whole different person. And sometimes if we're not careful, that customer number one experience can spill over onto customer number two. I'm guilty of that. And I ask the Lord to help me too, what I'm saying? Because, we're not perfect, but, sometimes the ignorance can just be so real, and it's like, my God. So you just take on a lot of weight, but there's still no excuse for you not to build anything. ChefJoseph'sKickSauce.com. Check out the website. You can get this market ready guide. It's like $10, $10 or $12, a hard copy. And but it's just a guide to help you put you on the right path, to developing your product or your recipe. So I just want to share that with you all, and like and subscribe to the channel. But just know, if you're going to be supporting other people groups or other businesses or other friends or other family, that cousin that you continue to lend money to who won't get up and get a job. Hello, you know what I'm saying? That customer, that cousin or that family member or friend, who always need to borrow something, but yet when you need to come to them for something, they ain't got time today. That's one example right there. So be mindful of where you spend your money, yo. And more than that, start building for yourself, because y'all see what's going on in the country. There's a lot of people getting laid off out here. A lot of people getting laid off. A lot of people losing jobs, So, but I still believe myself, being a man of faith, that you can still create something and knock it out of the park. Knock it out of the park is what I was about to say, or knock it out of the box. You know what I'm saying? It's no excuse. For those who don't have the strength, I've heard that before. You have to find the strength from somewhere, because nobody gonna give it to you. The Most High give it to you, but you gotta seek it too. That's the next thing, especially for grown men. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go. This video, I'm doing this video kind of late. Usually I like to get stuff done early, but just be mindful. Are you supporting, or the businesses and things that you support? Are they supporting you the same? That's real talk. And if they're not, it's time to disconnect. Period. Yeah. So your wigs, your weaves, and nails, whatever it is, no disrespect to anybody. If you can't get it one place, then maybe you should look somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm out of here. Thank y'all for your time. Thank you for listening. Thank y'all to y'all for just even listening to what I have to say. Just read, like, if you read the section about what this channel discusses, it'll tell you a lot about it, because these are some of the things that I went through as an entrepreneur and turn it all into everything that you'll read. Okay, I'm out of here. Y'all have a wonderful day. Chef Joseph the Entrepreneur. Okay, peace.